Sunday morning. Well, with us today is Clayton, the U.S. Attorney in charge of the Southern District of New York, traditionally the most powerful U.S. Attorney's office in the country and the largest U.S. Attorney's office in the country. Well, Jay, it was good to see you Tuesday morning at the State of the NYPD breakfast and hosted by the Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, and she gave some speech. I mean, I was, it was a 40-minute speech, and I was taken back at how good and how smart she was.
John, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree. It's great to see you there. It was great to see so many people there to support the NYPD and Commissioner Tisch. And I will tell you, the speech was so substantive. You know, what have they done in the last year to really get violent crime in New York way down, and not just resting on their laurels, but talking about what they're going to do going forward, including the discussion of modernizing some of the processes. And Commissioner Tisch goes way back in the police department. She's been responsible for many of what I would say the advances in use of technology while respecting people's rights. I mean, she just, I was so impressed, John. And I think we're so lucky to have the NYPD, and we're lucky to have great leadership at the NYPD.
Yes, and I was impressed. I knew she was good. And former Commissioner Ray Kelly used to talk about her, and he helped train her at the time. But she exceeded my expectations. Now, tell us, Jay, you're the U.S. Attorney in charge of the Southern District of New York, and traditionally the most powerful one in the country. Tell us what other things are happening to help make New York a better place to live.
Well, one of them, and there's always some bad news when you're in the job like mine. One of them is cleaning up corruption in New York, and I will tell you that this week we arrested former New York City police leader on corruption, and I just want to say there's no place for corruption in our police department, and Commissioner Tisch and the leadership of the police department is 100% committed to that, from what I can tell. And so I appreciate that. We're also, we've cleaned up some corruption in the New York City Housing Authority. We're looking at other institutions in New York, and I'm not talking about petty stuff, John. I'm talking about making sure that anybody who is in leadership or near leadership in these institutions and is a bad actor is brought to justice, because 99% of our public servants in New York are good people who really care, and they want us to clean that up. So that's something that we've been focusing on. We had some action this week, and I appreciate the support of New Yorkers, and I appreciate the support of these New York institutions in making sure that if we have any bad apples, we're taking care of that. I'll tell you another thing.
I know.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Go ahead.
And another thing that we did this week, and I'm so proud of my prosecutors. We had a gang trial this week. Gang trial with homicides, and just the kind of behavior that we can't tolerate. And there were efforts to intimidate people, and my prosecutors, career people, they didn't waver an inch. They delivered the goods for the people of New York and secured a guilty verdict. And people should know we are not going to be intimidated. The gangs are not going to intimidate us. The people of New York do not want us to be intimidated. In fact, they want us to face intimidation with even greater strength.
Now, when you talk about intimidation, there was we scratch our heads sometimes of things that happened down. It's not your territory in El Paso, where there were threats of drones coming in, et cetera, and they had to shut down that airport. I mean, did things like that happen in the Northeast?
John, one of the things that we need to up our game on is being ready for drone threats. I've actually spoken in some detail with the commissioner about this. We have many big events coming to New York this year. We have America 250. We have the World Cup. The world is going to be watching New York, and we need to be ready for threats like that. It's a reality of today, and it's a new technology. We need to respond and to be ready to combat any kind of nefarious drone activity.
Understood. And the commissioner did speak about that to learn how to protect ourselves better against drones, which brings up one last subject. The fact is that President Trump, on these windmills on the Atlantic coast, because whether it's Long Island or whether it's Staten Island, it enters your territory too, that these windmills could besides being having their own problems, they can how do they say it? Reduce the ability of radar to pick up drones coming through that system.
Well, John,
has it been on your desk yet?
That has not been on my desk as a prosecutor, but I'm going to put my old SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, disclosure hat on. And, these things were financed with a blind eye toward their total cost. That's just me knowing about investments and knowing about we were sold a bill of goods on some ESG investments. And the windmills offshore, to me, and I'm speaking now as a citizen informed by my time in the markets, this was one of the craziest things in terms of ignoring all of the potential costs and buying a bill of goods on, what are turning out to be illusory benefits. We should all take a lesson from this windmill experiment.
Well, I've learned lessons like that when we used to buy copying machines, and then they would finance them through a leasing company. And when the copying machines didn't work, the copying machine company would say, "Well, we sold that paper to a bank. We have nothing to do with it anymore."
Yeah, and your copy machine became a coffee table because it wasn't good for anything else.
Absolutely. It's part of the, I hate to say the word, it's part of the con game. And I understand that possibly one of the countries in Europe were involved where they own a large portion of the company doing the deal. And when you talk about those windmills, because I know it's important to President Trump, is the fact that even though they guarantee you 10 years worth of life, the windmills, the blades fall off after 5 or 6 years, some of them, and I've been told that it could cost the New York consumer or the American consumer 200-300% more for electricity than it's costing now.
Yeah, John, now I'm going to put my prosecutorial hat back on and talk about white-collar crime and how we look for it. One of the places you look most is when somebody gets paid up front and the customer has to deal with it over the next 10 years. And I'm always wary of the guy that walks away with all the dollars on year one, and then the customer is left with all the maintenance for 10 years. Well, I will fill you in on what I know, and I'm sure Secretary Burgum can fill you in on that. And it's a major problem for New York City and New Jersey, but New Jersey is a different prosecutorial area, but the cost of electricity could go up anywhere from 200 to 300%. That's not what we want. Not what we want. Jay Clayton, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, thank you so much for the job you do, and thank you for protecting all New Yorkers and all Americans, and let's catch up again real soon. Thank you, John.